then I thought it might be an interesting idea for us to kind of get up on our feet and walk through the gallery space and have Jonni explain some of his images, if you're all in agreement with that. To begin with, I have to confess that I first encountered Jonni's work through the realm of the internet. I saw it through images, and I was really quite struck when I actually came to the gallery and I saw the work actually in person. It has a completely different feel to it. The photographs that circulate about his work, I think, don't necessarily do it justice. They don't convey the nuance of the structure of them or the layering of the material that he uses. So with that in mind, I'd like to ask you a question in terms of your process. I guess first and foremost, I would like to know about the way that you've stitched the backing of these paintings together. It's not really a canvas, to call it a canvas is a misnomer. And I wonder, in talking about how you do this, I did note that you said that initially it was something that you started out of kind of economic necessity.
Yeah.
But now it seems to have morphed into something else.
Yeah.
So, can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah. I guess the backstory of it was when I first started painting about 10 years ago. I didn't know what type of work I wanted to make. I was just making small stuff, and I never imagined like I'd have a career out of it. But about almost 5 years ago now, I started to realized I want to make really large scale works. And I was a broke college kid, and living off pizza and beer and that type of thing. And I wanted to just find a way to like make big canvases. So like instead of like buying like a roll of canvas, which I couldn't afford, I would just find scraps of canvas and just piece everything together. And then it kind of just started, like 2 pieces of fabric and like big canvas. Now it's just like I'm using, 50 pieces of fabric in like a painting sometimes, and getting like way more intricate than previous works, And it's been kind of interesting too for me because I make 2 compositions within my work. So I have like the stitch part of the stitch aspect of it, and then the physical paint on top. So it's for me like sewing and like stitching everything together is kind of like the calm before the storm, if you will. And like I can sit at a sewing machine all day. It's just like really kind of therapeutic for me, in one way or another. So. And yeah, I've just been like sourcing all types of material. I live in downtown Los Angeles, near the fashion district, and so I can just walk over, buy like a yard of stuff, half yard, whatever I need. And in my studio, I have like a massive shelf, and I just keep like all these fabrics there.
So when you begin to stitch let's just call it a canvas. When you begin to stitch it, do you have in mind a pattern or form, or is it more random? Because there does seem to be some implicit pattern or some consciousness about the decisions that you're making in terms of the juxtapositions of the fabric.
It's more random. I'll start somewhere and then I just kind of react. So it's really just kind of like putting a puzzle together for me. That's how I see it. And it takes me, I want to say, like this whole show, start to finish, took me like a little over 2 months, and most of that was just sewing and stitching. Yeah.
So after how long do you actually spend painting? I mean, I noted that you work both horizontally and vertically.
Mm-hmm.
So you're working on the floor at times, and then you work up on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine you work on the wall.
Yeah.
So are these already stretched onto the frames?
Yeah.
As you're working?
Yeah. So I sew it and stretch it and then I paint.
Okay.
So that's
And so what do you think the difference is in terms of the end result when you work on the floor versus when you work vertically? Does it impact the form or the structure or how you lay the paint on?
I don't think it impacts the form necessarily. I get on a ladder so I can look at everything from another aerial view. Before
So you look down at it?
I look down at what I sew, and then I put it back on the wall and then I start painting. also too, like I love residue in artwork. So like on some of these, you can see like footprints and stuff. And I know it's like kind of like cliche that an artist like steps on work or whatever. But yeah, like I love the residue. I love the marks. I love how you can see like the process on the floor and the process like on the wall. You know.
And the process across the canvas.
And the process,
sometimes,
yeah.
So it's really interesting that you actually stand up and look down at the work, as I imagine as you're working through it, right?
Yeah.
Or is it after you're finished?
After I finish sewing it. So before I paint it, then I'll get high, just like kind of like envision like where I want to start making my marks and like where I want to start painting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then it kind of strikes me as a kind of cartographic process, right? That you're literally creating some sort of map,
Yeah.
right? And then amending the map through the addition of paint. But that the map, if we can think of it in that way, and you can correct me, but it becomes like a history of traces in terms of, or creating a picture of spaces that you're moving through, spaces of memory, spaces of nostalgia, as you mentioned before in an earlier conversation with me. So how do we understand that? How do we understand more specifically the decision-making processes that you are employing when you choose a certain picture or you choose a certain fabric?
Sure. I think I'm still trying to understand that myself. Just because I'm also work intuitively, so I know that I'll use a picture for a reason, or just because I liked it, or I like the colors in it, and I think it works well with what I want to do. But as far as visually planning it, it's hard. I don't pre-draw anything. It's just really loose. I work really loose.
So they really are responding to the materials themselves rather than any sort of preconception. Okay.
Yeah.
So then would it be more akin to a design sort of thing, like you're looking at, you're putting things side by side, it's like, oh yeah, this works, or.
Yeah, so before I sew everything is just laid down flat. And I just like move pieces around, just try to like, kind of figure out what should be there. Like this color fabric should be here. Oh, this green and blue don't work next to each other. Like, So, and also too, like I try to keep it as unsafe as I can,
What do you mean by unsafe?
Just more so, like stuff like even this whole fabric right here is just weird, and then like using stuff that could potentially just like tear if I stretch it too hard, or stuff like that. And I just kind of like seeing. Well, also too, like I don't know what the canvas is going to look like before it's finished. So like when I'm stretching, you're going to get all these like weird lines and stuff. So like everything kind of is like curved and like nothing's really straight. And I really enjoy that part of the process because it's I don't know, it's just like a kind of a surprise to me. You can see like in this one in particular, like that top right kind of like reddish thing with the stitching. Like in my head, I thought that was going to be just like when I stretched it, I thought it was going to be completely straight. But it's just like one of those things where it kind of like curves down and.
Do you mean like this part right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just like one of those things where I'm like, this is probably going to look perfect, but my work is never perfect, and I kind of enjoy it that way.
So those exposed stitches, the way that they've been pulled, was that deliberate or was that the result of stretching?
I actually found that canvas like that. I found that fabric like that actually.
Okay.
And I don't know where it's from, but it had a stitching. I was like, I'm going to use this.
Interesting. Can you say a little bit about the photographs, where they come from?
Yeah.
And the process that you subjected the photographs to, because these are not, paper photographs, these have been printed onto as well.
So my wife's grandfather was a doctor. He kind of just like traveled the U.S. in the 50s and the early 60s, and even some of the photographs are from before that too. But he took these pictures on old Kodak film, like Kodak from slides. And so my mother-in-law, they were moving out of their house in Arizona. Arizona, and she's like, we don't want these anymore. Like, we want to get them visualized, but the technology doesn't really exist. You're an artist, like figure out something, that type of thing. So I had these slides, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, yeah, these are cool. Like, I don't know what to do with it. So I was actually about 3 months ago, I was looking at them again in my studio, and my landlord sees me looking at them. He's like, oh, I actually have a viewfinder for that. So he brought me this little viewfinder. It's like, kind of like, they look like binoculars. You just kind of like put the slide in and you like push the button and it lights up. It's like 3D and they're really cool. So I was looking at some of these images and like, like kind of like my mind was just blown because like there's one in particular, there's, in this painting in the back, there's this one image and it's a building on fire. You can't really see it because I've covered most of it with paint. But there's a building on fire, but the image in the viewfinder was just, it was just like mind blowing. So like, the hard thing about these images is like they kind of turned out flat because they're just old and stuff like that. But like in the so anyways, he was just like, hey, I know how to scan these images for you. And I was like, what? So I gave him a bunch of scans, or gave him a bunch of the slides, and he scanned them for me, and then I just got the JPEGs, and I sent them to a printer, and they printed them out on canvas, and I just sewed everything into the work. So it's more me adding parts of my wife's story with, my work and like the way I paint and stuff like that. So, yeah. And I just thought it's like a fun, and also too, like I just love Robert Rauschenberg a lot, and like he uses images and like that and stuff like, so.
So do you see these as kind of combines then?
Yeah.
You do?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then do you see them further that? Do you see these as more sculptural? Or
in a sense.
Because it's an additive process that you're using.
In a sense, yes, because I add it, but like, even this one, like the back handle, like I kind of let hang back and there.
Right.
So I'm like, in a way, it's sculpture. It's a stretch, but like in a way, it has sculptural elements to it.
Definitely. I wonder if we can just go back to this idea of the photograph, because
Sure.
you're actually taking a 35, imagine a 35mm slide,
Yeah.
which is in and of itself a positive image,
Mm-hmm.
and you're creating an image from a positive image as opposed to a negative image.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're using that photograph in a way that it's not necessarily meant to be used.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that speaks, or kind of that idea of using things in the way that they weren't supposed to be used resonates through all of these works. And so I'm just wondering are you being irreverent? Are you being provocative?
In a sense. I mean, I think the way I work, I'm not thinking about being provocative. I'm not really thinking about the outcome of my work like that. It's more so me adding things in my work that I think would be cool. If I was looking at a painting, I think, I would like to see something like this, or, and I'm adding images of like moments in time that like I wasn't alive then, So like I'm just adding stuff that other people have experienced into my work, and like other people have seen into my work, and I don't know. I just thought it was like a neat way to make a painting that way, I guess.
Well, yeah, definitely, right?
Yeah.
So this idea of borrowing and appropriating, and you said that we talked about this before, but I'm wondering if we can go back to it, this idea of nostalgia.
Yeah.
And how you see that function not only in your work, but maybe in a broader sense, where we are living more or less in an age that really promotes nostalgic recollection of things, in terms of vintage things, in terms of making old things new again.
Yeah.
How do you see that working?
I don't know. I have this thought and idea that nostalgia is one of the most important feelings that you can have, at least for me, anyways. Just because like I tend to forget to look back at things. I tend to forget, certain images or certain like moments or, times I've been or whatever. Like I forget that played college basketball. It's been so long. So there's like little things
Oh, the
that,
basketball.
yeah, so
Okay.
there's not a nostalgic thing. But it's just like little things I'm like, oh yeah, I was there for that, or oh yeah, I remember this, or stuff like that. So I think I'm trying to like keep those moments in my work and like kind of like have them like live on, if you will. Yeah.
So then this is, I mean, these are obviously very aesthetic objects, but they're
Yeah.
also very personal.
Yeah.
It seems in a way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, one would only learn about that in conversation with you, wouldn't necessarily.
Sure.
It's not readily apparent on the surface
Sure.
of the images.
Yeah. I mean, I think the way, I mean, as an artist, it's a very personal job, like I sit in a room by myself, 12 hours
With
a
a
day
sewing
sometimes, with a sewing
machine.
machine and a bunch of paint and, whatever. And it's kind of like a lonely job, if you will, like if, yeah, it's kind of lonely sometimes. The isolation's kind of intense sometimes. But it's just like one of those things where like I'm sitting there, I'm doing this, but like I know that like if I like a painting, I'm going to show it to somebody, and like it's me being more vulnerable with people, and like just allowing people into like my process and like allowing them even into the work. It's a very vulnerable thing. Yeah, it's just it's kind of a job now, I guess.
I guess,
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about, when we were talking the other night,
Yeah.
you said that you were kind of a fan of Russia.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if, is everybody kind of familiar with this American artist? He's quite well known for his, I guess he started out with serial photography. He would take, there's one very famous work that he did, I think it's every building on
Sunset Boulevard.
Sunset Boulevard. And at 12 noon, over a period of, I don't know, I'm gonna just randomly say 21 days, the guy goes out onto the street and takes a photograph of the street every day at the same time, but it's a different building. And then he binds these photographs into an accordion book so that you can either flip the pages discreetly or open it up to see a continuum, a kind of visual narrative of the banality, the ordinariness of everyday life.
Well, yeah, totally. I mean, even the gas stations.
The gas stations,
So,
yeah.
well, it's like, so he's one of my favorite artists of all time, just because of, the everyday mundane things that he's like taking pictures of, and it's kind of silly. Like if you think about it, he's taking a picture of an apartment complex or a gas station or something like that. But like so I didn't go to art school, so like I found out about Ed Ruscha through other influences I had. But so I was living in a town called Flagstaff, Arizona, a really small mountain town in Arizona. And when I got into Ed Ruscha, I actually found out that he took a picture of one of the gas stations there, because he used to ride through Route 66 going from Oklahoma to Los Angeles. And Flagstaff is on Route 66.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, you're kidding me. So I actually like went and found this gas station. It's the cheesiest thing in the world, but like I was so excited about it because I was like, oh, like Ed Ruscha was here, that type of thing. And so like I took a picture of it naturally. But it's one of those things where like I also like to, well, through him being an influence of mine, just adding like mundane things and simple things that are just like lying around, like a train blanket that like you get on the train, they give you a blanket, you're cool, that type of thing. And like now it's in my work because I thought it was cool. Like a tablecloth, like stuff like that, like the burlap bags, and my dad's old suitcase, and just like little like mundane things that are just like everyday things. I'm just like, I'm going for it. I'm just gonna do it,
So just to push a little bit more on this idea, I mean, do you think in any way your work is suggesting that we should pay attention, a little bit more attention to the things that we encounter on a daily basis?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, you can use anything. Like I've found a bunch of random things and I turn into artwork, I guess,
Yeah.
So it's to the point now where people are like giving me like old clothes and shirts, and like they're just like, hey, this is cool, use it. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to use it next time. But
So do you think that you'll continue to work in this way, or do you see yourself pushing into another area?
I think with this work in particular, it's much different than anything I've ever done. It's not as flat, it's more personal. The images, I mean, it's the first time I've done it, so I'm like super excited that, I have thousands of these slides, so I'm just like, I'm going to use a good amount of them until people are tired of it, or maybe until I'm tired of it, I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, my work has changed a lot over the years. And I've never planned on it changing in a way where I'm just like, okay, like I did this, I'm gonna do this now. It's just kind of like, it's everything, every time it's just happened naturally. And I kind of welcome that because it's really easy to like stay the same as an artist,
Especially if you find something that works.
Yeah, it's like I was actually really nervous with this, if I'm being completely honest, I was like really nervous with this work in particular because it's new and it's a lot different in a way. It wasn't as easy, so like I kind of got to this point where I got so busy last year, or this year, and last year too. I got so busy, I was just making the same thing over and over again, I was like, I can't keep doing this, as an artist, like, you're just like, yeah, it sells, but like, this is boring, like, stuff like that. So I'm like, I just need to like do something new. I need to add something. I don't know what it is. I'll figure it out. Whatever. Change the music I listen to, just, so I don't know. But I'm excited where this is going, I don't know what that looks like yet, but yeah.
It remains to be seen.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm sorry.
No.
Can you tell everyone just a little bit about, maybe give an example of how you used to work? What kind of work were you doing previous to kind of embarking on this kind of
Sure.
visual?
Yeah. So I was actually, it's funny because if you Google search me, all the images that come up are like the paintings I did in like 2012, where it's like me, it's a portrait of me, and it's just like paint covering my face. And I was living in Flagstaff. I was just trying to be an artist, that whole thing. And I hated making those. I really hated making those. But that's the thing that first got me noticed. And
these are the portraits with
yeah,
the paint, like the paint kind of dripping down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I'm thankful for him because it opened a lot of weird doors that allowed me to be here now. So in that sense, I'm like super thankful. I was like, man, like that's like one thing I'm just like, I can't wait to stop making these because everyone's just like, hey, will you do my thing or my picture? Or like you see like up and coming like rappers and stuff that are like messaging me like, hey man, I need album art.
I need album art?
Oh yeah, 100%. But there's yeah. So I'm thankful, but yeah. So we got tried to sue me over him once. Like some artists like tried to just like, yeah, I do this, and I was like,
what, claiming that he had copyright over or
yeah.
Interesting,
Yeah. Some artists are just different types of people. We're all different. Artists are just people.
So are the artists.
Yeah. Spend an afternoon with me. I'm just weird. I'm not that weird actually.
Oh, no. I'm confused. I don't know which one I should believe.
All right.
But you didn't train as an artist, right? Can you say a little bit about how you moved into?
I didn't go to art school. I went to Arizona State, and I actually dropped out when I was 21, I think, 21 years old. And I just got a restaurant job, so I was like working as a server, bartender, whatever. And I was living in a house with 4 other guys, and so they were all in school. I was always working, so like every time I came home, it was just me. Like they're all like going to sleep at that, whatever. So I was like, man, like I'm bored. Like I just need something to do. Like I need like some type of outlet because like I was working double shifts every day. So like wake up, take the train to work, you come home, wake up, take the train to work, come home. It's just like this routine, and routine's important, but it's just like one of those things where I was like, I'm too young for this, So I I literally just started painting. And I got really into, it's kind of funny, it comes full circle because I got, like, my first influence as an artist was Shepard Fairey. So that whole, like, obey giant, like, that whole thing, I was like, this is rad, like, I like this a lot. And then it's funny because after that was this guy named Phil's, and both those artists are represented by this gallery too. So like I'm looking at this whole thing, I'm like looking back, I'm like, oh shit, like this is cool.
It's kind of fell into place.
Yeah. But then I found out this guy named Connor Harrington who makes the street art with you know, fine painting, like fine art and stuff like that. He's like an oil painter, really badass. So like I was really interested on who influenced him. So I started looking at those guys, and then I kind of gave myself like an art history lesson, you know, the Ed Boucher, Baldessari, like those guys, and then eventually Basquiat, you know, and then that just opened everything for me. So there's that, and like Gorky, de Kooning, and all that stuff. So yeah, anyways, I was really just trying to figure out how, you know, early Jackson Pollock like made those like paintings, and like how he works. I was just trying to like emulate that in a sense. Just as a hobby. Like I didn't, you know, I wasn't expecting to, you know, make a career out of it. Yeah, it's just kind of like how I stumbled into making art.
Did you draw beforehand though? Because I bet you're a good drawer.
I can't draw.
That's just too weird
No,
because
I can't. No.
sorry, it's because your line, the gesture of your line is so calligraphic, and it may look like it's spontaneous, but I mean it's got elements of amazing control. Like just the fluidity of the line is really quite fabulous.
I just have good handwriting, I guess.
Well, okay.
No, I don't know. I don't know. It's just one of those things where like I scribbled a lot as a kid. So like I was just like the kid that would like, draw circles around like over and over again.
That's the circles, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's like that weird kid that like couldn't draw anything. I'm just like, it's cool.
Well, it's like something.
Yeah, it's all, yeah. I also do a lot of the lines with my opposite hand. Sometimes. And sometimes I do use both hands. So, yeah. Just to get like a little bit more of like a childish line or like a gesture with my left, and then like a more fine.
Is that important to you? This
What?
idea of the untutored, the childlike, the expressive?
I didn't think it was important. I just kind of was like, yeah, this is how I make work. But then I was actually talking with another artist friend. His name's Will Bradley. He's a great painter. But he was just like, well, the thing I love most about your work is the raw power that you have. It's like very untrained. That's obvious, and you just can't teach that. So I kind of have something that like I'm not just. I guess I'm decent at it. So yeah.
So what we thought we would do is kind of move around the space of the gallery and have Jonni talk about some of the images in more specific detail. Is everybody in agreement with kind of gallery? All right, so we'll flock. I think we're going to start in here. Is that all right?
Sure.
Start in here. So let's start in here. We'll just all go in and run